Hey, all you game devs. Let's talk about the UV editor inside of 3D Studio. We've done some unwrapping, we've done some basic throwing textures on there. We're actually going to go into using our material editor, and we're going to use the Slate mode from now on. Use the other one just to get you some materials on there real fast, but in case you're still in that mode, all you have to do is go to Mode. If you're in Compact, all you have to say is Mode, and then Slate, and you'll come to this version. All right, before we get going anywhere, I want to show you some stuff inside of the Slate. I just want to explain some of the pieces here. Okay, so materials. If you drop down, let me pull this up here a little bit. If you drop down to the Slate or materials, you'll see there's a general and a scan line. General is usually where we're going to be. Scan line is for some advanced lighting and architectural stuff, and it's just the different rendering type. Maps. So inside of here, you're going to find a bunch of maps, different types, kind of the stuff you may remember from the compact mode, just when I was throwing stuff in real quick. But, like there's checkerboard, we use that. And then there's normal map and stuff. And I'm going to show you how to use all of those things, and we'll go from there. And then there's also the scan line again, some flat mirror, reflect, refract, and then environment map stuff. This is sun and sky, controllers. I never really use these, so we're not going to worry about that at this point. As you get more advanced, you can get into that. Scene materials. When you look inside of here, what you're going to see is there's materials that are already assigned to everything in the environment. Even if they're not on scene, they'll show up in here. So anything you've made, and in this case, we have some stuff that was made originally. Anything that you've made that isn't in the area where you're going to work is going to show up here. So any scene at all that you have, and you can change your view and all this other customizable stuff. So, and then sample slots. And if you notice this looks like the compact material editor. Some people still like them, so they go that way. And what you'll notice, as soon as I click on one of these, something's going to pop up. We're not going to use sample slots, so let's just delete this. If I go to see materials, I may now have, I don't think I do. Okay, so when you're using material editor, you're going to do stuff like, and you're going to move this over. A lot of people don't even use it. Some people hide it altogether. What you're going to do is, it doesn't matter if you have an object selected or not, you're going to click in here, and right click in here, and you'll get options, and you'll see they're much like the options you had up in here. Maps, materials, controllers, sample slots, blah, blah, blah. So what we're going to do is just go to general, and then we're going to say standard. Standard material is the base material type that we have in the game, in our environment here. And I'm not sure where it is, so I guess I will find out. I did this before. Every time I come in here, materials. Oh, standards and scanline. Okay, the rendering engine that's default by Max is scanline, so it would make sense that it's in scanline. So this is the one you're going to use the most, standard. Okay, we're going to pop this up. We're going to look at this. These are the baseline texturing type of systems. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. These are we're still using these the same way, but we're going to use them for different occasions. For right now, we're just going to use the standard. And if you click on that standard, it'll pop in here again. Let me show you that again. Right click, materials, scan line, standard, pop, there it is. It also shows you a little shader view up here, or shader ball. So it's now in the area where we can work on stuff. If you double click on it, it will now be inside of here. So you'll see this is material 27, it's material 27. So if I say we're going to solve this frame for now, we'll call it picture. And we throw it in there. Now it says picture over here, and if we open up scene materials, once I attach it to something, it will show up in here. Okay, so the next thing you do is that you're going to want to, after you pick the material type, you're going to want to pick the map type. And if you look in here, you'll see general, and there's all these map types. Well, where these things go are to these things right here. So if we don't even worry about that, I just wanted to show you those are there. When we click on this, if I click and drag, I just click on one of these dots, left click and drag just like I would normal, you'll see I get a line. This is the line saying that you're going to have a map attached to this point. And when you let go of the button, it comes up with the general, scan line, or environment. We're going to start with general. And in general, we're just going to say bitmap, because bitmap is the default texture type we put in diffuse. Diffuse is the color, we've talked about that. Specular is the highlight. In this case, it's going to tint the highlight. Specular level is how sharp or soft the highlight is. Gloss is how far, how much of a fall off, how strong it is, how much of a sharpness it is, excuse me. Self-illumination is how much it glows, and it actually, in game engines, a lot of times we call it illumination, and it's, I'm sorry, we call it emission, and it'll actually cast light in Unreal and in Unity if you set it up that way. Opacity is if you have transparency. So if you want to make a leaf, we don't draw every picture or make every vertex in the leaf. We actually go from a picture. Filter color, you can put a filter over it. Bump is where we're going to actually put in our normal maps. And reflection and refraction are something we'll get into later. Displacement, I've shown you a little bit of it, but we'll talk about it as we get further. Anyway, so I'm just going to say, like I said, bitmap, because bitmap is a picture basically, and I'm going to come to a picture and I'm going to find a picture of an ancient creepy painting. So we'll take this one, or here, creepy painting. Okay, open. So if we do that, you'll see I'm still saying picture here, but now all of a sudden M shows up in here. It's much like this is what you see in the materials editor too. If you double click on it, you'll see what happens is just like in the material editor, when we would go inside of the diffuse color and click on the map, it would jump into the map. That's what we're doing now. So this tech is now showing me the step down inside of the material editor. This is showing me what this is. Again, you might want to name it. So we're going to call this creepy picture for now. It doesn't really matter. The big name you want to have is the top name. This is where it's going to go. And here we can tile it, and we've talked about tiling it. It basically makes the texture repeat on the outer edges and how many times. So if it's 0 to 1 on the UV unwrap, then it would be, if you want to make it go twice as big, it'll tile twice by going 0 to 2. 2 of those would fit inside the same UV area. We'll show you more about that as we go. But this is all I was going to do for this part right here. And then all I have to do is apply it to the texture, or apply it to the object. So I'm going to select the object, and you'll see as soon as I select it, this little arrow comes up and it says assign material to selections, much like the other one. We click on it, and of course nothing seems to happen, because what have I forgotten? Oh yes, we have to show it on object. Show shaded material in viewport. Pop. Now the material is on there, and it's this old Renaissance creepy painting, and something a vampire would have in is somewhere, and it's all over the place. And that'll probably be our next talk in a few seconds about how to make it have 2 different textures on one object. It's called multi-sub, and if we look up general inside of here, there's multi-sub object. But that's next, and we will get to that straight away.